Barron just sat down with the Quack Brothers, and the conversation was loaded with talk about Ripple, XRP, and where the price could be heading. They also dropped a pretty bold statement. In just 7 days, U.S. markets are about to become fully global. What does that even mean? Don't worry, I've got the breakdown for you. Stick with me because there's a lot to unpack here. We've also got some fresh updates from Crypto Eri and other big names in the space, plus some really interesting developments on Ripple and XRP toward the end. Let's start with this. Paul pressed Dom about his massive price target. If you didn't catch it, Dom gave a 1-0 per XRP prediction by 2030. Naturally, that had me asking the same question Paul did. Where is this number coming from? What's the model behind it? Is it built on Swift shifting to blockchain, the XRP ledger expanding, stablecoins adoption, or maybe all of the above? Dom's answer was that it's really a mix of everything. Swift's transition is definitely part of the picture, but he stressed the real driver is the explosion of use cases actually happening in the real world. DeFi, cross-border payments, remittances, charitable donations, billions are already moving across borders, and when institutions fully embrace those applications on the XRP ledger, that's when adoption and activity explode. And here's the kicker. It's not just institutional adoption. Once the general public, the 90% of people who don't yet own crypto, finally wake up to what XRP can do, retail could drive a wave of demand, like we've seen in other tech booms. Think about NVIDIA. When retail investors realized AI was the future, they piled in, sending the stock soaring 1,000-fold. Dom's suggesting XRP could see something similar once the mainstream catches on. Now, I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical at first. If you're going to throw out a 1-0 price call, shouldn't you have the full thesis and data ready? Especially when you're promoting your company on a big platform. It feels a little thin without the backup. But at least he confirmed it's not just clickbait, he's working on publishing the full breakdown. From there, the talk shifted to ETFs. Canary Capital recently announced plans for an XRP, Solana, and ADA ETF, branding it as an American-made crypto push. Their CEO even claimed the XRP ETF could end up being the biggest crypto ETF yet. Dom agreed, pointing out XRP's massive holder base and huge trading volumes, often ranking just behind Bitcoin and Ethereum. But let's be real, Canary hasn't filed a Bitcoin or Ethereum ETF. They've only done niche products like Injective or even a Trump coin ETF. So, of course, XRP would be their biggest one. It's not competing with BTC or ETH in their lineup. Still, the idea of XRP ETFs gaining traction with serious inflows is worth paying attention to. Now, let's circle back to that bold claim. In 7 days, U.S. markets become global. Here's what's really happening. On September 3rd, 2025, Ono Finance is set to launch a global platform that tokenizes U.S. stocks, ETFs, and bonds on-chain. This means 24/7 trading access for non-U.S. investors, fractional ownership, and the ability to trade these assets using stablecoins. The only catch? U.S. residents won't be allowed at least until regulations catch up. This is groundbreaking. Think about buying a treasury bill. You usually lock up your money for 6 months or a year. But with tokenization, you could sell your position instantly, trade it peer-to-peer, or reallocate funds 24/7. No more waiting for market hours. This gives international investors unprecedented access to U.S. assets, even if they can't afford full shares of big names like Tesla or NVIDIA. Instead, they could grab fractions and build wealth globally. And here's the bigger picture. Nearly all stablecoins in crypto are backed by the US dollar. So as tokenization ramps up, it's actually strengthening demand for USD globally. In a way, crypto isn't undermining the dollar, it might be saving it. Meanwhile, Crypto Eri flagged some major news out of Asia. A new digital finance project, linked to the Bank for International Settlements and Standard Chartered, has chosen the XRP ledger for its strategy. This initiative added over 240 new enterprise clients, bringing the total to more than 300. They've already helped nearly 400 small and medium-sized businesses access fintech services, with revenues surpassing RMB 200 billion. That's real-world adoption at scale, and it's powered by compliant stablecoins and blockchain infrastructure. Even mainstream pop culture is catching on. Rapper Big Sean recently told fans directly, "Buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple." He called it a quick flip, encouraging people to jump in now. Say what you will about celebrity endorsements, but this kind of cultural influence matters especially for younger generations who already understand digital native assets better than traditional finance. And finally, Armando Pantoja chimed in on the long-term outlook. When asked if XRP could hit 10-0, he said it's possible, but people misunderstand how market cap works. Market cap isn't actual money inflows, it's just price times supply. In crypto, relatively small amounts of money can move prices dramatically. Billions flowing into XRP could push it into double digits fast. He also believes XRP was artificially suppressed by the US government for years, and now that restrictions are easing, we're seeing faster growth. But he cautioned, market cap multipliers shrink as assets get bigger. Bitcoin's multiple is down to around 5x today. So while 10-0 XRP isn't impossible, it would require global-scale adoption and massive shifts in the financial system. At the end of the day, the message is clear. XRP has room to grow. Crypto's integration with US markets is accelerating, and the next 7 days could mark the start of a much bigger shift toward tokenized global finance. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you spending this time here. Stay tuned, stay informed, and have an amazing week.